You might be familiar with Wink of Stella. Now those are the glittery markers. Well, now there are Wink of Luna markers.
These are metallic brush markers that will give you an opaque finish with a nice metallic finish as well. And I can't wait to show you what we've done with them.
That's right. Come play with us. Well, here they are, all 9 of them. Aren't they pretty?
Beautiful, in all of these beautiful colors. We have copper, blue, green, black, red, silver, violet, light green, and gold. It's nice to have those 2 different greens there.
Okay, so lots of choices. Now, they come individually like this. Of course, we're going to give you a special offer. And you see this black area. Well, that little ring needs to be removed.
Right,
so,
and it keeps the cap from pushing on and opening the pen basically ready for you to use.
Right,
in
so
shipping. We don't want that to happen.
Pulling that off,
right,
and then you
just
reattach
screw that
it.
on there.
Right.
Don't go all the way because it will actually
it'll start going.
Well,
yeah.
we want you to. Once you put it on all together, it will pop, and then there will be the pen on there ready to go with that nylon tip brush.
Very nice. So then the ink will start flowing when this gets pushed back and you start using it.
And you can also squeeze the barrel and make sure you shake it up before you use it. You can squeeze that barrel a little bit, not too much, so that it won't sort of dribble out the end of the pen. You just want to fill up the barrel right here.
No dribbling on our watch, right?
Right.
Okay, so all 9, but then the next thing is, okay, beautiful, think that's interesting, but what do you do with it?
What can you do with
Okay.
them? All right, so we've got answers for that.
We do have answers. In fact, we got lots of answers.
You have kind of a unique one right off the bat.
Yeah. Now this is using the double stick dazzles. Now, as you may know, these are die cut and they're sticky on both sides.
Right.
And look at what you can do. I am really surprised that the pens will work
that they were used.
Yeah.
Right. I was a little bit surprised too because they are water-based pens. And so I was thinking you're going to put them on an adhesive, what's going to happen? Well, Susan got this to work and she started by using the covering that was on those double stick dazzles. I've got a little sheet
plastic
protector here, but here I want to show you. When you use double stick dazzles, they have this sheet protector on the front of it to cover them, and you just do this little trick of wiggling in the corner, and then you can peel that up. So you peel this part up, and there are your double stick dazzles. We're going to take one of those off, just one at a time. We only need one of those.
Just lift it like you would any other dazzle.
Like any other dazzle. It's double stick, so it's sticky on the front and on the back.
Hence double stick, huh?
Right.
How
so
that works.
I've got this little sheet protector. I'm going to lay it on. Like I was saying, Susan used the covering, but I want you to be able to see it. And then you take your brush markers and you just start brushing over that.
Your Wink of Luna, huh?
Your Wink of Luna brush markers or brushes. And the nice thing, first I want to shake it up. That is important.
You remove the black ring, of course.
The black rings have already been removed. This part has been screwed on tight, so you can see the ink has already flowed into here. And the nice thing about putting this on a sheet like this is you can just use the side of this brush so you can get really quick coverage and just cover over the whole thing and not worry about getting it on that sheet protector.
Pretty easy peasy,
right.
isn't it?
And so that's all that Susan did. She said after she did that, she actually took a cosmetic sponge and sort of dabbed it up a little bit so it wouldn't be spotty at all. And then after you have that part done...
do you have to let it dry?
Well, not really.
It's there.
It sort of works. She says,
wow.
I didn't do the entire flower. I did like most of it. I sort of stopped down here. But she did say if it's still a little tacky, you can put a little powder on it, and that will, or chalk, and that will help it to take the tackiness away. But
now,
that's the red one.
That's really stunning. Now, I notice on the one on the card, the innies have been done silver.
Right. So then she took the innies off separately. You would
or just leave them there and color them on the sheet.
Sure, you could color them right on the sheet. The innies are back in here, and you just color those with silver, and then you can go ahead and put them right on your flower.
Okay, like this, and that's how it is done. And then obviously that stem became green, And very pretty. I'm just pleased that it's not sticky.
Right.
And I would have thought that might have happened. So,
well, you know, she may have put a little powder on there to make sure that the
like baby powder?
Like baby powder, right.
And then the thinking of you is silver, so that's coordinating with the silver inside the flower.
This is done on the Rhapsody paper set with those great black and white colors, very contrasting.
Very pretty, very, very nice. Okay, well that's neat. Okay, let's go further.
Okay.
What else can we do?
All right.
Well, how about Color Me? Now, Color Me, as you know, is very often in black. These are the sheets that was used. This is out of the Ebony Color Me collection, so there's a whole collection of them. Or you can get them individually, and this is obviously the postcard. Also, what was used were the labels, or the labels and borders. So this sheet.
And we know already, and maybe some of you don't, about the embossing on Color Me. So that's raised embossing. It's got this nice shiny effect on there.
All that black area is raised. I can feel it.
And anywhere that you're going to put color, you're going to see the color wherever there's white. That's what's going to cover it, and the black will stay in place.
So the paper is going to absorb the color just like this.
And that's what you're seeing here. So when we get in tight on these flowers, you can see that nice gold and red metallic in there. And so this is fun because there's such fine point markers or brushes. You can sort of go along and make lines and add highlights in that way.
And if you do, it looks like multiple layers were done to get that shading and highlighting. So that's easy.
Right.
We know about coloring.
The interesting thing I want to point out about this is the background. If we get up into this open area here, you see it really looks kind of mottled. And that is something that Lene did with the coarse sponge dabber.
Very good.
Okay. I got it. And so
Which is a fun looking tool. It's just, so what do you do with it?
It's a nice, it kind of looks like one of those sponges you use to wash your cars, but it's really small. It would take forever. So we're just going to use this with the Wink of Luna. And I've got the copper pen here. We're going to put a little bit of that on our craft sheet. So if I go like that, you can just see it comes out. It's kind of wet back there. And then I'm going to add, she said she added just a drop of water, so I'm just going to add, I'm going to spray over here. Oh, there was some color burst on here, I can see.
Oh no.
I'll try to get some of the clear there. Get a little bit of that on the sponge, pick up some of that, and then just start dabbing around, and it makes a nice little sponge effect. And just do it in different areas. And I think that she used copper and gold and sort of mixed those two colors to get the background that you're seeing.
So just sponging that on. Very pretty. And those butterflies that you're looking at right now are on the sheet that has the labels and borders. So you can see those extra little butterflies as well as the flowers.
Right. Did you notice that she cut around the postcard here? That's part of the background, and all she did was cut just along this edge and then slid the photo underneath.
Very pretty.
Nice?
Very, very pretty. So we'll back up just so you can take the whole effect. So everything, this is part of the sheet. So just cutting that slit, going down to the butterfly. The tag has been added on top.
Right.
And then just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
It's
and
a beautiful page.
The neat thing about Color Me is that you get to color it however you want.
Right.
So that's always perfect. Okay, so we've got Color Me, we've got double stick dazzles. Now,
what else?
We have a stencil. Stencil.
Right. The tree stencil. This is one of our 6" by 6" tree stencils. And you can absolutely,
I love this stencil.
it is beautiful. I've seen it used in so many different ways.
Yes, you're right.
And in this case, we have brown cardstock, and I've used stencil tape. You'll all be amazed to see that I actually use stencil tape. Some of you know
You
me.
prepared that in advance, didn't you?
I've got that on there. And what Debbie said about applying this, and I believe she started with the gold where the tree trunk is, shake it up a little bit, is that as you go along, you might want to hold down the stencil a little bit. You want to make sure that the ink doesn't go underneath the stencil. So I'm going to hold it down and start going on. And it's okay if you go on the stencil, but make sure you go right up to the edge.
And because they're opaque colors, you can do it on top of something like brown cardstock or black cardstock.
Sure.
And still get your color.
It will show nicely. If I find that it's seemingly getting a little bit dry, then I'm going to squeeze it just a little bit to sort of get a little more of that paint into the barrel, shake it up, squeeze it, and then just keep going, and it just kind of restocks itself with ink. Now, because these can be layered on top of each other, I can go right over those leaves, and that's no problem. And then I can just go over it again with the green when I'm ready for it, and it'll just go on top of it. I would probably let it dry before I did it, but you can see that it just goes right on top of it. It covers it too, and that's the opaque nature that we were talking about.
And because it's water-based, it's not going to take time to dry either. So here is a close look at the finish. So we'll back up a little bit, just as you can see. So Debbie actually went into each of those leaves and gave it a little bit of the vine and the center line and the extra leaf lines individually.
And I love the copper jewel dazzles on there, or brass. Copper jewel dazzles, copper border dazzles, and there's even a green glimmer sheet used in there.
Very pretty.
Matting.
Okay.
So just, beautiful.
So stencils, huh?
Yep.
What else? Let's see what else. Well, we have this giant butterfly, and this is from a embossing folder. So this is the giant butterfly embossing folder, and you can see that it has been embossed. Let me get in closer so you can really see the dimension of that. Yes.
Look at that.
Wow.
Now, okay, there is detail going on in that in those recessed areas, they were colored different colors.
Yes.
But Debbie said she started by coloring the entire piece with, let me grab the right one.
The silver?
Silver.
Okay, and that's on the, so it was embossed on the black cardstock. Then she did the butterfly with silver, and then went back and did other colors. But you're going to show us, huh?
Just to show you that one, what I'm talking about doing the whole thing. Sometimes when you emboss something, you've got that upper edge, you want that to that raised edge, you want it to be silver only. You might go, oh, well, I'm just going to be really careful. You don't have to. You can cover over the whole thing. It doesn't matter if some of it gets in the background, because, like I said,
you just don't want it outside the butterfly.
Right, don't make it outside the butterfly, because you can go back and color right over those areas because it is opaque.
Okay.
You'll be able to, you take a little bit more time in those areas and cover over just like that. In fact, I think that silver gave a nice base. You can see that it looks a little better on top of it.
Okay, so let's go back to the finished, and there we go. So you've got the purple and the blue, added some jewel dazzles and some other dazzles just to give it more shine. And then on the inside, just more of the you're the best.
Right, with the tiny words and phrases. And those are so useful for little tight spaces like that.
So you can use these with so many things.
Okay, so we've got trees, we've got butterflies. What else?
Well, we have stamping.
Stamping
now, this is interesting because this is using the feather stamp, one of our favorites. And looks like you've got a demo over there. So
I do, because
look.
It was used in two different ways. You can see that they were stamped with. They were used for stamping.
So stamped there as well as the
and I'll
feathers.
show you how to do that. But the background that was created first, I thought was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Get a little bit of a shimmer in the background if you use the Winkaluna. And so I've got a nice big craft sheet because we're going to get really wet with a spritzer. And
you're bringing out all the tools, huh?
I am. Well, I'm not going to use a heat gun, so we're good there. And you really want to get this wet. So ahead of time, let's see what kind of color burst pops up. No, I don't see any extra paint here. We don't need that. Nice and wet. You can even let it puddle a little bit. And then you just
start. So do that until the paper starts to curl.
Right, that's a good idea. I really don't want any dry spots because I really want it to start moving around.
And it's doing that.
Yeah, and that's really cool, right, like that.
Yeah, it is.
But Debbie added a little bit of green highlights, so just in some different areas.
So
just
blue and
add
green?
a little bit blue and green, just a little extra there. I think that's great just the way it is. So every look is going to be different. She actually spritzed it with a little bit more water, but that's kind of a nice look too.
So very much a watercolor look.
Right.
I like how you went at an angle because I see that kind of flowing motion. That's
fun. True. You know, that's kind of the natural thing that I first thought of, was to go at an angle like that.
Yeah, it works nicely.
Well, either way. So this is dry, completely dry.
So it gets lighter.
Right. And when you're ready to stamp, then you've got I've got the stamp here, which is a large feather from the feather stamp. And then you can just use the Wink of Luna directly to the stamp.
Okay, so just color it on.
Right. You don't want to leave it, you don't want to do this too slowly. You don't want it to dry.
Okay.
And add a little bit of green in some different areas, whatever you want
So
it to
kind of
look
what you
like.
did on the paper.
Right. And I'm also going
You
to
are.
give it just a little bit of a spritz.
You are, okay.
You can try it with and without, see what you like, what kind of effect you like, and I'll just stamp it right on and we'll see what happens.
Woo.
Beautiful.
Oh, wow. That is stunning.
That is nice. I like that quite a bit, actually.
Wow.
So
very
pretty.
nice.
It's got a little bit of that metallic shine to it.
A little bit, not a giant amount,
Right.
but
Well, you're watering it
there.
down a little
Yeah.
bit, so you're gonna. But it's still beautiful. The colors are great and
look.
match well together.
And
she
then-
added a little purple in there. I see.
Yeah, and then if you wanted to, you just recolor it to do another.
Yeah.
You gonna do one now?
Or if you want to just add it just like that and see what you get, you
Okay,
might
so
get a
it's
little bit
very
of
fade.
shadows, or you can
Yeah.
spritz it again. See what
Okay,
happens.
so you can get at least two.
Sure.
Beautiful. And just so that you know, the shine that you're seeing are the holographic papers, so purple circles and blue fireworks, so great. Okay, we have another idea to go with the stamping. And this is out of the frame pop-up cards, so one
Right.
that came out recently. So it looks like this, makes really a kind of giant
so
card.
before we get to the inside.
Oh, okay,
so
don't
the
open it, Paulette.
So the inside is sort of this big surprise, and I thought, the inside, let's make it a really big pow, a big wow. But
Or pow.
Right. So you really see what those brush markers do on the inside, but on the outside we've added just a little bit. So I've got the dolls stamped here in
Okay.
black,
Mhm.
but the accents that I used the wink of Luna
Luna.
with are on these little banners. Can you see
Okay.
that's the metallic
some
effect there?
shine.
And there.
There
I'll
you
show you
go.
that. But those have been embossed on with black embossing powder.
Okay, and then
so
color.
the heat doesn't make them bubble. As I didn't leave the heat gun on there too long.
So same thing with the butterflies?
Right,
Those
same
were
thing with the
stamped?
butterflies.
Okay.
Those were stamped onto there, and I'm going to start by making.
I can't open it yet, huh?
Oh, do you want
Can
to?
I do.
No, not yet, not yet.
I want to.
Wait, it's going to be a big surprise when you open it. To make those pieces, I started with a background piece and then I stamped onto them. And
okay.
I did that by, now I need this to be nice and juicy, so I'm going to squeeze that, make sure there's lots of paint coming out here. There we go.
Okay.
It even
Wow.
comes out I made like a puddle. It's going to be fine. Trust me.
Okay.
So I've got
I do
that
trust
on
you.
there. I shake up and get some of the silver on there, and I think I'll start down at the bottom and just sort of move it up. Once it dries, it has this beautiful metallic sheen. Oh, and I didn't mention, by the way, I like the blending of colors. So that was
yeah.
another reason I did that. These are silky papers that I'm using.
Ah.
The silky papers have just a little bit less tooth than regular cardstock, and for whatever reason, that makes them look more metallic.
Ooh.
You can really see that shine on there. Even when they're dry, you're going to see,
That's
some of
really
it is wet
pretty.
still, but yeah, this is gorgeous. So this is what I used for those banners and to emboss directly on. You can stamp right on there as well.
And stamping right on there is exactly what you did, even with the heat embossing. So that's what
Right.
you were talking about. Okay.
Right. Now I really like the silky papers for that. I tried I actually tried glossy papers, and they were a little bit too glossy. It beat it up
Interesting.
on top of it, but this was just enough it's like the liquid soaked into it. I'm getting technical.
It does a good job, huh?
and the metallic parts, they just stayed on top, and so they
Very
really
pretty.
shine.
Okay.
Okay.
Now
speaking of
can we
shine-
open it?
Yes.
Okay, everybody, you ready?
Okay, the frame pop out.
Wow.
Ta-da.
Look at that.
So the same
Look
thing.
at that.
In the case of that dress, I actually chose to stamp and emboss first, and then color it in. But you could also do the background the way I just did, and then stamp over it.
Sure,
So-
sure. Choose your spot, huh?
Right. Choose what you like to do.
Very pretty.
And the hair was done with the copper, and then you've got a gold band, and you've got silver and purple,
And all the gradation.
so fun. They are
Very
fun to
pretty.
play with.
And this card does exactly what you see. So this label pops out.
Pops right out.
It'll stand up
That's
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice advantage, and you just put the papers. And of course, all those paper patterns are in the package. So,
Mm-hmm.
so you go from this, which is lovely, a little plain, to wow,
with
there
our
she
new
is.
Wildflower stamp set,
Yes.
or a paper pack, by the way.
Very pretty.
Yeah,
Okay.
beautiful.
So my words. So you can stamp and you can emboss
Yeah.
and you can stencil.
You can stencil, you can use double stick
dazzles, and you can do color me.
And what else can you do? Think of something, get them and have fun playing with them, and get all 9 colors because they work well together.
Wink of Luna. That's what we have. We'll see you next week.
See you then.